Why did the shop strip my oil drain plug? It's an amazing thing. You can also say, why did the shop strip my lug nut? Why did my shop strip the bolts nuts in the, while doing the job? Problem is that metal fatigue in the auto repair industry is a real thing. And unfortunately, most automotive repair shops don't understand or know this. They actually a lot of times accept responsibility for a drain plug or a lug nut or this or that, without even understanding the simple truth about metal fatigue. Metal fatigue is so real, it's not even funny. Anytime that the automotive repair shop is faced with a conversation, a drain plug strips during an oil change, a lug nut breaks during a tire rotation, a bolt snaps during service, the immediate reaction of the customer is the shop must have broken it. But the truth is different. These failures are rarely caused by negligence, the result of metal fatigue. The gradual, invisible weakening of metal over time. By the time a technician removes a bolt, plug, or nut, its failure is already inevitable. This blog explains what metal fatigue is, why it matters, and why repair shops are not to blame for failures caused by years of stress and wear. More importantly, it shows how good shops handle these situations with transparency, education, and the customer's best interest at heart. So what exactly is metal fatigue? The definition is metal fatigue is the progressive weakening of a material due to repeated cycles of stress. The three stages: crack initiation, microscopic cracks form. Crack, the cracks then spread with each vibration and torque and heat cycle. And then you got the final failure. The part eventually breaks. So you bend a paperclip back and forth. It doesn't break the first time, but eventually it always does. That's fatigue. Every oil plug, wheel stud, and suspension bolt in a vehicle goes through these stress cycles over its lifetime. Cars and trucks operate in environments that accelerate fatigue. They're driving down the road, for Pete's sake. Okay, so there's heat cycles. Engines heat up and cool down thousands of times. Vibrations, every pothole, speed bump, and mile driven added stress. Corrosion, rain, salt, road salt, chemicals, weaken fasteners over time. Over torquing, if a bolt or plug was over tightened years ago, that damage may not show until now. Listen to that. If a bolt or plug was over tightened years ago, the damage may not show until now. And then, the what kind of material quality was there to begin with? Low grade replacement parts often fatigue faster, but just because it's a high quality part doesn't mean that it's not going to fatigue. And your oil drain plugs. So steel plugs and aluminum pans wear down with repeated oil changes. Over tightening accelerates thread damage. Stripping usually happens during removal, not because of carelessness, but because the threads were already weak. But it can happen going in too. It usually happens upon removal, but not always. Just because it going in or out. Understand that, going in or out. When it's fatigued and it's going to break, it's going to be breaking in or out. Understand that. And then lug nuts and wheel studs. Lug nuts endure endless torque cycles and vibrations. Corrosion seizes wheel studs, making them more likely to snap. A stud weakened by rust can break even when properly removed. And then, you got other vehicle bolts. Suspension bolts weaken from years of torque and exposure. Exhaust bolts grow brittle from constant heating and cooling. Once cracks exist, breakage is inevitable. And then why shops often get blamed. This reaction is known as last touch syndrome. It used to drive me crazy. Wait, you were the last one to touch it. I don't care if I'm the last one to touch it. That doesn't mean I'm responsible for it. The assumption that the last person to handle a part causes the problem. but the science says otherwise. Fatigue is invisible until failure. Fatigue is invisible until failure. Failure timing is unpredictable. A bolt may last years or fail today. Shops don't cause fatigue, they uncover it. The truth is simple. The shop didn't break it, they found it. But lucky them, they found it, so they must be responsible for it. They found it, so they must be responsible for it. No, they found it. They saved you from possible a catastrophic failing event somewhere else. They found it. We should be looking at it like a celebration. Yes, they found it. They didn't break it. They found it. But just because they were the last one to touch it, that must be their fault. So instead of rewarding them and thanking them, we're blaming them and harassing them. Mm, it's an amazing thing. Wow, once you actually understand what metal fatigue really is, um, it's a big deal, you know. So you know, you you you, you got to understand. A good shop's doing a DVI all the time. They're looking for stuff all the time, not to find stuff. They're not digging for dollars. They're looking for stuff to make sure you stay safe. They're looking to make sure that your car starts when it's supposed to, turns when it's supposed to, stops when it's supposed to, handles like it's supposed to, keeps you safe and going down the road like it's supposed to. Shops are not trying to hurt your car. They're there to help your car. They're not trying to hurt your pocketbook. They're actually there to help your pocketbook, because the longer you keep a car without a car payment, the more money you have for retirement. And they're trying to make your car last as long as is humanly possible, instead of it dying a premature death because of them not looking for stuff. You know, I'm going to go back to that paperclip. If you've ever bent a paper clip or a wire back and forth, if number one, it heats up in your hand. Literally, that going back and forth will make it heat up, and then it eventually breaks. It's the same thing when you're well, they must have over torqued it. Well, they must not have, but somebody might have. And it doesn't have to be over torqued for it to be getting fatigued. So um, it's an amazing thing. And then the different kinds of metals. One metal, steel going into aluminum, aluminum going into steel. It's like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense anyway. I mean, but, because steel and aluminum don't react well together. They never have. They never will. Just adds to the fatigue. Um, just trying to say, this is hot climates, cold climates, city driving, country driving, stop and go, freeway. They all cause fatigue. So understand something. This is science. It's not blame. Metal fatigue is a fact of physics, not shop negligence. It builds silently. It causes sudden failures at unpredictable times, and it is revealed by the shop, not caused by the shop. Auto repair shops exist to educate, repair, and protect customers' trust. That's why a good shop will explain fatigue openly, fix the problem correctly, and stand by their integrity. Find a good shop. Find a shop that you can trust. But trust goes both ways. And you start blaming somebody for something they didn't do, but something they found, and that's just not right. Stay safe, stay strong.